Hey, what's up, folks? How you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Today, we're going to talk about something that is, um, I guess we can say that it's something that's been weighing on my heart pretty heavy, and I want to make sure that this is a discussion that is had. There's a lot of kind of discussion, be it political, be it religious, be it whatever, about the events and things that are going on. I want to talk a little bit about that. Not a lot. I don't want to dwell on anything like that. I want to be very clear that the information we're going to be talking about today is not taken from any one specific lens. We're going to talk about this in a very open manner, meaning that my moderators make sure that as people are having this discussion, that we're leaving this open to people being able to talk. We don't have to like the stuff that's in there, but all I ask is sincere kind of reflection before you post something. Don't be ignorant of each other. If you have to leave, you have to leave. I get that, no problem. But let's show some respect to everybody who's coming in. I am freezing up a little bit, so I'm going to try and close a couple of these windows and see if I can eliminate some of this. So let's close down some of this stuff. All right. Hopefully that helps with that. But anyway, thank you all for being here. So real quick, Michael Stacking, thanks for bringing everybody over. Appreciate that. Those of you that were in Michael Stacking's got a little bit of a pre-taste of some of the stuff that's going to be discussed today. So thank you for bringing people over so we can have this discussion. Again, folks, the conversation is meant to be just that, conversation. It's not meant to pick on or point at anybody as far as what we believe, what we do, what we don't like. It's going to be non-targeted. We're not going to be targeting anybody. It's more about just discussing. I want to take my glasses off and see if my eyes start to bother me. I'll have to put them back on. But let's just kind of chat. And how are you? How are you doing? What's going on? What things are weighing heavy on you? And let's just really kind of talk through some of these things that are. You got an echo, Tiger. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm fixing it.
Those things that are driving some of us nuts, that are weighing heavy on some of us. But why? What is the premise? Yesterday on Stack Collector, Tiger and I talked about having protective factors and things in place that allow you to see the world around you in a more positive light. I just kind of want to talk and kind of get some feedback and some opinion about where you all are at and what you guys are thinking about and what bothers you, and let's have some of the discussions. But I'm also going to point out a couple of things that are being said on both sides of the fence that are, well, just not good. They're not good for the people. They're not good for the audience. They're not good for our nation. They're not good for the globe. So, T-Bear doing well. Been working a lot. Can't stay. Need to go to bed early. I completely understand. I won't be on very long. I have to stream in the morning. So this is going to be fairly low light. Maybe a little heavy, but it'll be a good discussion. Mr. and Mrs. West Texas Stacker, what's going on? The price of silver is weighing heavy on me. A little bit of a hint. Yeah, so silver is all over the place, up and down. Still pretty high, actually. But there's a lot of good things that are going to come out. I am going to turn off my camera. Sorry, but I keep seizing up, and audio seems to be working. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and we'll just do this. Maybe I'll move it, show some coins or something here in a little bit, but I'm just going to do this for right now. So how are you, Tiger? What's going on in your world?
Oh, not much. Yesterday I took a class on trauma, passed the test, which is going to make the employer want to keep me working. And then drove home, that whole thing. That's why we did Stack Collector while I was out of town. So did Stack Collector right after I did the test. Just got home not so long ago. Happy to be home. So little happy and unhappy about the price of silver going to 43 plus. And for those of us who are been stacking for a while, you're happy because what you got has just improved your dollar cost average. But for those of us who want to buy more, it's an unhappy event because the price keeps going up and you don't know if it's going to be a peak with a dip coming down or if it's going to keep going because none of us can tell the future. So it's a mixed bag of nuts. I think that's pretty much anyone who's been stacking for any length of time. When the price goes up, you're happy because of what you got. You're not happy because what you want to get. How about yourself?
Um, See, I look at it as, what is it really saying about the status of our economy?
That's true too.
Okay, that's kind of what I'm looking at. And so it's really easy to go, oh, well, it's tough because I want to buy, but what is this really signaling? And I think that's kind of one of those things that has got more of my attention than anything else. I do not know what's going on with my camera and why I've got this all looks absolutely horrid. So sorry about that. So what about you all? How are you all doing? What's weighing heavy on you guys? What are you guys' thoughts? I know people are talking about this silver thing, and again, it is something to be discussed. It is something to be aware of. Is it weighing heavy on everybody else, or what's going on there? I wish I would have had this set up a little better. Sorry about that, folks. We need to keep going up on prices. Let's see, what have we got? Says things we need to keep going up in price. Prices of everything are through the roof right now.
Yeah.
Neil says, start your own company. That's what this is telling me. That's probably not a bad thing to do. Just make sure you follow smart business strategies. That's going to be extremely important. Gold maple, let's see, health is the most important. Claudius Papa, how are you doing? Good to see you. What's up, OC? We have 3 more rate cuts. Yeah, down by 0.25% or something like that. End of the year, we'll see 48 by 50.
Mm-hmm. What I'd seen was only one person in the Federal Reserve wanted to drop it by 50. Everybody wanted 25. And I'm hearing that the anticipation in the economy here in the States is they're anticipating the next 2 months to bring 2 more rate cuts, which between if the rate cuts do happen, and also if we continue to have the global positioning of potential warfare, it's just going to drive the prices up. So this might be the new floor as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe. It's a very good possibility, but I have no idea what's wrong with my camera. I'm just going to definitely turn it off. I moved it, and there's probably something on the lens or something in the setup that's not allowing it. So I apologize, folks. Maybe, I don't know. I really want to kind of understand what's driving it. I'm less concerned about the price If I need to buy it, I'll buy it. But right now, it's what is it that's causing this going up, going up, going up, going up? I just think it signals bad things. Just me.
I totally agree with you. And I think that my fear might be accurate. But like I've always told you and everybody else, I don't have the wisdom of Solomon nor the omnipotence of God.
Uh-oh, I got a week's detention after school. That's no good. Sorry, Neil. I am being demoted down to where the bad boys are. Well, hey, speaking of, hey, what's up, Bait the Hook? How are you? No one knows silver long term. If you got 25 monster boxes now, just sit back and wait. Rates cuts just went down. Yeah. Again, there's questions on, do you sell some of this? Do you try to take some of the profits, or do you hold? I know what my strategy is. What's yours, Tiger?
As long as I can, I'm going to continue to buy. I don't think the prices are going to come down. And the other component I think of it is I don't really 100% value my stack based upon fiat currency. I really base my stack upon how many ounces I have. Because whether the price is low, the price is high, when SHTF does come to play, and when people start realizing that gold and silver is real money, and you can use it to get what you need, you're going to wish you had more ounces and not worry so much about the past spot price. Because if we really have a bad SHTF, well, I don't think spot price is going to continue if our government doesn't do well. I think it's going to be based upon your ability to barter when you want to trade silver, gold for goods and services. So the question then becomes how many ounces you got and how good are your negotiating skills.
I agree with that to some degree, but I think there's more to it than that. If you really want a good lesson, you need to understand what happened during the Great Depression, right? And that's, again, we repeat ourselves. We repeat the mistakes that we've made. The same financial choices keep happening over and over again. You think that they would understand the difference here, but we have a lot of good lessons during the Depression. The problem is, and I know that Gold Maple has said, save your money, spend it, or wisely, don't go into debt, which is always good advice. Financially, being out of debt is a good advice. And so that is very important. But you have to realize that we as a generation, we're probably, and I'm talking about mine, are probably some of the last to really understand what saving is. And even in my world, and Tiger, you and I have talked about this a million times, we weren't great at it.
No, we weren't, because we fed the Kool-Aid for generations before us. They drank the Kool-Aid and they helped us to believe in our government, and then they handed the Kool-Aid that they were handed, and we just drank it because that's the way we were raised.
Well, yeah, and again, I don't know about you guys. I know there's some of you out there that had parents that understood finance and walked through that and taught you guys how to balance books and stuff. And I had a mother who did a lot of great work in allowing me to make financial mistakes while trying to make sure that I kept things in check. And I was pretty good about paying my bills. I was never late for car payments. I was never late for paying my insurance, and I always had money for gas. I never spent on anything that I couldn't get away with the financial basics, right? So I had money for my lunches for work. I had money for gas. I had money to pay my bills. And then if I had something left, then, I went and did it, whatever. But I didn't have anybody to teach me the importance of compound interest and dividends and why you should start investing at 18 years old into a 401k earning 5 to 8% and what that would mean by the time I was at retirement age. Nobody told me that if I did that $400, $500 a month, or $200 a paycheck, whatever that number is, that by the time I retire, which would be here in just a few years, will be $1.7 million, right? By doing what? By putting out a couple $100 each paycheck. I didn't have people to teach me that, and so we knew we spent what we had. We put away if we could, but depending on how much you made, you went out and took care of things. You took your wife out. You took your girlfriend or boyfriend out. You went and hung out with the boys. You went and did that kind of stuff. And, you bought toys and you did that kind of stuff. And you made sure you put something away for the rainy day in case something happened. But,
And you forgot the most expensive thing when you're a young man.
and that was, I already said dating. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. And again, so it's one of those things that, there was a guy, I'm trying to remember what channel it was on. He was talking to these people and he's like, "You want a girlfriend?" He goes, "Man, I'd love to have a girlfriend." He's like, "How much money you got?" He says, "Let me hold your wallet." And he ran away. He says, "That's what having a girlfriend is like." I know it's funny because it's like, oh my God, that's so stupid. But you do have when you're dating somebody, you do have money that's going out.
I used to teach my son, he didn't listen, that, girls get you into trouble, money gets you out of trouble. It's better to love money than to love girls. Of course he didn't listen.
Well, and again, when we talk about those, there's intent behind those. You're not trying to teach somebody. It's all about the love of money. What's up, Stacking Surfer? How you doing, bud?
Hey, Surfer.
So again, there's a lot of things that weigh heavy on us, and there's a lot of things as we're going up, and we have generationally there are different ideas and different viewpoints, and you can't get away from the fact that the money now can nowhere near buy what it used to buy. Right? There's no way that the value of the money that I had when I was some of these young kids' age, it doesn't have near the purchasing power. I mean, go try to buy a car. For those of you who haven't bought a car for 8, 10 years, sticker shock from hell. Like used cars, $30,000. Like what? You used to buy a really decent car for 30 grand. So it's just one of those things where we have to put stuff into context when we're looking at finances and what our kids have and what we had, and make sure that we're speaking the same language. It's a really easy thing to say things from the perspective of, excuse the expression, but the old man, and not get the value of what we have nowadays. What's up, Great Scott? Good to see you. All right. Well, enough about the money side of things. Let's talk about what you and I were chatting about the other day. What are people's feelings about what's going on right now?
Oh, what you and I were talking about is why, at that particular conversation, why I was so much in the funk and sad about what happened to Charlie Kirk. And to bring everybody up to speed, at that time, when I first found out about it, it was on your short, and I asked you about who Charlie Kirk was. I recognized the face because I watched this YouTube program called Lefties Losing It, not all the time, but periodically, and I'd see him on clips where he would debate someone and pretty much break through their argument, their logic, and felt pretty good about the fact that someone who had my same mentality was breaking through the rhetoric when me personally, I've had been told many times to keep my mouth shut if I wanted to keep my job. And, watching someone change the course of events was was nice. Then I looked into it, found out more of how many times he and I had a similar opinion on different subjects, and realized that he was murdered in cold blood. Now, I would have felt the same way if someone who did not share my opinion on anything was murdered in cold blood for speaking their mind. But it just hit me harder because it was someone who did share my opinion about a lot of things. Yeah, and you brought up a very good point. Did I really know the fellow? Not really. Was I ever involved with him? Not really. It just hit me hard because it was a loss of a soul, and even more so, loss of a soul who shared my opinion during a time that seems to be when we don't have to be the silent majority very much longer. So that started you, if I understand you correctly, started you looking into about this topic, for which I'm sure you're going to, you know, present your viewpoint here right now.
Well, so here's the premise, and I'm watching chat and listening to things. Sometimes I'm going to acknowledge them, sometimes I won't. I'll just let chat do its thing. Um, but one thing is about understanding why we say, do, or think about certain things. And one of the things that I've had a question about, L, I mentioned the other day when we were in Stack Collector or when we were at Michael's, I can't remember which one, you were saying that it hit you pretty hard. I know Amy said it hit her pretty hard. I know that Tiger said it hit him pretty hard. And the question that I wanted to ask is why? Why did it hit you so hard? And there's a lesson that Tiger and I talked about regarding why certain things hit you the way that they do. Why is it that when every day, somebody dies, is hurt at the hand of somebody else or at the hand of themselves? Why is it that we are not sorrowful at that? We have no personal connection to that. We have no personal tie to that. It's might be a similar story. In fact, in many cases, to other people, it's the exact same story, depending upon where you come from and what your viewpoints are and how you think about certain things. So, for instance, how many of you, by a show of a one, play guitar or know at least how to tune a guitar or tune a piano? How many people have connections to any kind of instruments where you know how to do that? Because there's a very valuable lesson in something Tiger and I were talking about, and I was telling him about the tuning forks, and he mentioned the guitar, and the guitar is a really great example of the the element that I want to talk about. So when tuning a guitar, okay, just like tuning a piano, there's something that happens when you hit the tone to the tuning fork. And that is when the tuning fork is at the same frequency as the string that's being hit by the hammer on the piano. When you push it, that tuning fork starts to vibrate. Why does it vibrate? It vibrates because it's resonating with something. And what is that thing that it's resonating against? It's resonating against that other string. Okay? Playing the guitar. Tiger, how do you tune a guitar?
Almost always it's the fifth fret. You take the thicker string, and the typically strings and tension strings. You use the fifth fret just if you're going to tune it to itself instead of using a tuning fork or using a pitch whistle, if you will, and you tune it to the next thicker string until you get to the on the fifth string to the fourth string, then you drop to the fourth fret. and you just basically change the string, you change the knob on the string that you're not holding until you hear that resonance. And it takes a little while if you're not used to doing it. I got kind of used to it because when I played saxophone, everybody had to tune, their instruments, whether you were trumpet or saxophone or flute or all that against each other. And you hear that whenever you hear bands getting ready to perform this, they'll usually go to a C note to try to get all the instruments tuned to each other. So basically, when you don't have a device, you typically just tune it to itself and wait for that resonance. And it sounds like not only are both strings playing the same note, but there's an additional type of vibration since they're kind of like feeding off of each other.
And that's amplification. And this is something that's extremely important. So this is what's happening in society right now. And what's happening is that when you hear a message that resonates with you, there's something that happens inside you. And it is electrochemical. It is something that fundamentally works on your biological level. That when you hear something that rings true, your body starts to harmonize with that. And when you start to do that, you start to feel not right, not correct, but justified. Because when you become justified, when you start listening to something, and you can listen to an entire conversation and disagree with everything that's being said, and then hear one piece that resonates with you, you'll remember the entire conversation. The entire conversation will stay with you because something resonated with you, something triggered that, and it made it stick with you. And in this situation with Charlie Kirk, why this resonated with it is because it impacted somebody on so many different levels that it seems like everybody's coming together. But that's not actually what's happening. What's happening is that message is being isolated to different people in different ways. The message that's happening, the message that's being spoken, as was stated in Michael's stream, which is as you hear something, you get into the algorithm. This is done by Stacking Surfer. Once the algorithm picks you up and understands that you watch a certain thing, they'll kick more of that content to you, kick more, feed you, because they're trying to appease that monster that is the social media fan, and you want to watch similar content. And the more you watch that content, the more it rings true. And the more that content rings true, the more justified you become. Now, atrocities and horror have happened in the name of justification. The person felt justified enough and totally have committed atrocities based off this. There's a social experiment where you have a gentleman with a lab coat, and behind the window, you see a patient. And the patient's sitting there, and there's a machine sitting in front of that patient. And they go in and they hook up that person, and they said, you're going to go in with a lab coat. Here's the thing. You don't have to worry about this. No matter what the person does or how much they act, there's no harm coming to that patient. It's fine. You'll be okay. You just keep turning it up. You may hear something. Just ignore that. Follow the protocol and go on and go on and go on and go on. And out of the people that did this, a number of them went all the way to the point at which even after the person stopped screaming, now obviously this wasn't actually happening, it was all in a controlled setting, but after they stopped screaming, people continued to take it all the way up to the highest level. There were some people who you could see were physically tore up by the fact that you could hear somebody screaming even way before it got really bad. And they went finally, there were people that just said, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. And they had to stop. But people took it way farther in that experiment than they might normally do that. Why? Because in that setting, they were given a set of variables that, well, they have the lab coat, they have the clipboard, they're in charge. They were told to perform a task, they're going to perform it at the best they know how to do. They don't understand what's happening. They don't understand what's really going on. They don't understand the context of the study. They don't even know they're in a study. But yet they continue, because of the information that they've been fed, to perform a task that proves, on paper at least, extremely harmful to the patient. But because they're given, and they feel that right, they feel that leadership connection, they continue to take it too far. Now, here we have a person who was a leader, and anybody who says Charlie Kirk isn't a leader is fooling themselves. He was a man who enjoyed discussion. Now, did I like every stance that Charlie took? No, I did not. But I listened to him. I was a part of Turning Point. I listened to some of the conversations. What I respected Charlie Kirk about was two things, two specific things. Number one, he stood by his faith. He was unwavering, undying, and he stood by his faith. And it doesn't matter what faith you are, it doesn't matter what your belief are. When you are fervent in that belief, I may not like what you're saying, but I can promise you one thing, I respect you. It is very hard not to go against one's morals when the pressure's really on. The other thing that I really liked about this was that he did it in an environment that was conducive to discussion, in a place where he didn't necessarily belong. He put it on their terms, took it to their turf, and allowed them to ask the questions. Sometimes his responses were very eloquent. Sometimes people challenged their viewpoints because of what was said. Sometimes he was met with hostility, and it just didn't work. And unfortunately, we know what happened not too long ago. But the question that I go back to is, why did this hit people so hard? I know a good friend of mine, really good friend of mine, who it almost completely took the cells out, the steam out of their cell, and they just were like, I don't know how I can function. This is just, it's destroying me. And I'm like, why? Yes, it's sad. It's extremely sad. Somebody lost their life. A family lost their father. Steve Harvey once said that when I lost my dad, I didn't have anybody telling me I was proud of you anymore. I didn't have anybody coming to me. Those kids will never know that. Yes, it's an atrocity. Yes, it's sad. But why are people so connected to it? Well, because at some level, they understood a fraction of what his total message was.
I certainly understand the proud thing. That was the very most favorite thing I wanted to hear out of my dad. So you hit a chord on that one.
Well, and again, Steve Harvey's discussion, and if you've never seen it, you got to go see when Steve Harvey talks about his father. It's an amazing interview, and he gets choked up. He's like, "Damn it, I'm not going to cry," and he loses it because a father is a integral part, just like a mother is an integral part to a family. You need both halves, and single parents struggle with, hey, what's up, Pedro? Good to see you, bud.
Pedro.
It's hard for a single parent to be both aspects of what a child needs. This is why they say it takes a village. You need people when there are aspects in your life that you can feed on and go to. Yeah, exactly. It takes a village to raise a child. And so, yeah, it was totally just distraught to see that this young family, two beautiful kids and a beautiful wife, have lost their life partner, and they'll never get those lessons. There was an interview where I was listening to somebody say they're going to have to read stories about their dad instead of their dad reading stories to them. What a freaking bummer of
Yeah.
a statement. So yes, but that does sound actually. I tried to turn it down. Some people say they can't hear me, and then I turn it up, and then it sounds like nobody can. So sorry, 949. I'll see if I can try to balance that out. But I've got my limiter set. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be going all the way to the top. It may be the way I'm talking. Um, but the one thing that I want to reiterate is um, people think that, and Gold Maple's in here, I'm going to pick on you for just a minute because of something you said the other day. And it wasn't, uh, it wasn't something that I took issue with, but I wanted to correct you with. And this was, he was just a stooge of Trump. And what this is it's misinformation about who the man was. He was 30 years old. He started Turning Point at the age of 18. He actually was integral in campaigning and doing things to support Trump, but he's by far not Trump's lackey. He had a mind of his own and was very vocal about some things that the president does that he needs to not do. So this is where we go into these buckets. And we say, well, he was tied to Trump and I don't like Trump, so therefore I don't like him. Without understanding the premise of who the person was. And why is that? Because we're in a bucket of people who are resonating with us. And it sounds like a good statement. It sounds like a good argument. And you need to understand more about the stuff you don't understand than the stuff you're in support of. Because if you want to have a good discussion, you really need to understand the other view. And we don't do this very well. And then when you have a debate to bring violence into it, that's just wrong. A debate is a discussion, 2 points coming together to understand why either the person believes that or to change a person's mind. At the end of the debate, there were 2 actions. There was a shaking of hand and an agreement that we can agree to disagree, or there was a point in which people said, I need to learn more information about this. I need to come back. I feel like I'm not quite up to speed. Some of the things you've said today have really made me think about some of the things that you've said, and I need to go back and do some more research. I appreciate the opportunity to learn more about you. I hope we can revisit and do this again. When was the last time you heard that kind of conversation? When?
Other than for watching what happened with Charlie Kirk, not very often in my lifetime. Usually people get hot under the collar and at best agree to disagree, and then they avoid the topic at all costs. That's what I normally see in my life, and I'm bet it's the same way with most of the rest of you.
Um, I look at things and go, do people really understand why they have an emotional connection to Charlie Kirk? I'm going to pick on you for just a second because you and I talked about this, and I asked you a very poignant question. What do you know of Charlie Kirk?
Prior to me asking you who he was, only what I saw on Lefties Losing It.
But
And
within a very short time, it was pretty downtrodden for you. This was a
yeah,
heavy blow. What changed it?
a lot of things. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's a good Christian. He's a role model that I would like to be better at in those areas than what I am by myself. And those things bother me. Also, the fact of what I do for a living. My whole life has been spent trying to save lives, to eradicate disease, and to see someone snuffed out just because of their opinion bothered me. And I've seen myself actually lose jobs, and other people too, when the opposing viewpoint of whatever subject, and you're told if you voice your opinion, you're going to lose your job. And sometimes I did it because the core of me was just so strong on certain topics. And I have lost jobs because I disagreed with certain things that were happening. So seeing someone who was voicing their opinion and the silent majority is starting to not be silent anymore, and he was a leader in that, it got to me as well. But just the fact he's a young person, dad, husband, Christian, good role model. I mean, as I've said so many times before to you and others, I have stuff in my life as well as everybody else, but the loss of his life and learning about him in that period of time was the last piece of my puzzle I needed to push me to get going back to church. I mean, there's other reasons too, but it was the last piece. So, those things are very much at the core of my being. So subsequently, watching someone who is so young and did such a good job, it hits you. But I've also cried over people I barely knew. But a lot of those people, I was the doctor trying to save their life, and despite my best effort, they passed away. To which I'd have to hurry up and run away, hide myself in a room and break down so I can put myself back together. So, because I had other patients that needed my help at that time, and they needed me on my A+ game rather than my C game. So I hope I've answered your question.
Well, Neil is kind of going where I'm going, and it's one of those things that there are people that die that are good, solid Christians every day. There are people who die that are good, solid Muslims every day. There are good people who die that are good, solid Hindus every day. People die every day, but why don't we tie the connection to them? What is it? Well, we don't know them. Well, you don't fundamentally know Charlie Kirk. So what was it that caused the connection? And what it is it's all those things that you perceived of him to be. Now, I say perceived of him to be because you don't know him.
I'll give you that.
Right. And so our perception is where that string starts to vibrate. And that's where we start to resonate because, like you said, good father, good provider. He was trying to change things, his faith. You're pointing out all of those things that you hold of value.
True.
So this is starting to ring true to you. This is starting to reside with you. Now, what happens when it starts to reside with you? Is that a bad thing? No, absolutely not. This is how we get connection, and this is how we come together through things. This is what happened during 9/11 when the entire freaking country pulled together, unlike anything I've ever seen, and flags once again lined their city streets. There were people doing amazing acts of kindness for random strangers on the street. Our nation, for a very short time, was amazing.
Unified?
Huh?
Unified?
Yes, but from that unification, we had the capability and the opportunity to impact some things. We had the opportunity to remind people of what this was and what this felt like. But what happened as time went on? Well, as we started watching whatever was resonating with us, it started once again to divide our nation. And because it started to divide our nation, we, just like a pendulum, have to do what? Swing that same distance to the other side. Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal reaction in the opposite direction. 9/11 was the pinnacle all the way to the unity. And we are on the way back. The question is how much farther does the pendulum have to swing before it comes back? In an interview that I read with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was talking about being on the edge of the cliff. And at what point on the edge of the cliff do we have to be careful? Because once you tumble down that cliff, you're forever in it. And there are some really sad, dangerous things that can come from the over division, the continued division of our nation. I know many people have talked about civil war. Folks, you don't want a civil war. We don't want. You look at the atrocities that have happened around the world, whether it be religious, whether it be over water, whether it be over food, whether it be over Troy in Greece and a woman, right? And so whatever that element is, we don't want civil war, folks. And there are some things that are being said on both sides, and this is the point to where I was expecting people to probably start dropping or even unsubscribe to me, because something I'm about to say is something that's not going to be taken very well by some. Even in the faith, we're taking it the wrong direction. I heard something that really upset me, and I told you about this, Tiger. I was livid when I heard it, because exactly, violence is never justified in some peaceable action, and that is a problem. But here's my stance. We continue to rip ourselves apart, and the words that I heard really, I can't tell you how angry they made me. Not because of the context in which they were being used, but they were being used to frame or construct a context. And it was a context of good and evil. And the people that were doing it, the religious leaders that were saying that we're no longer about left or right, we're about good or evil, that was pretty harsh. And it wasn't harsh because I know where I stand in the swing of things. It was harsh because now we've gone to saying there's no good in you anymore. You are evil. And that is sad. Go ahead.
Dehumanizing.
It's horrible, and that causes further splits. Now, with that being said, as a believer in the faith, or as a person who understands very small amounts of what the genuine nature of the Bible talks about, because I haven't studied the Hebrew, I haven't gone into the Latin, I don't understand all the meanings. I know Yahweh, I know those words, I know what they mean to me, I understand the history, but I am not a biblical historian, and I can't talk about the full scope of what was specifically meant by this. What I can tell you is that it was historic. And so when they talk about the selling of a goat, people need to understand that it was a significant amount of money. We're not talking about little things. When we're talking about the lady who gives the last 2 talents, or the widow's mites, the last 2 cents that she has, she's giving her everything. And people don't always understand what that is. When they talk about units of measurement, people think about, and they don't even know what they're talking about. They just don't understand. But when you talk about a talent and you talk about how much gold that was, go back to the Easter Sunday's discussion that I did, where I talked about the talent and how much that was worth. And when those people were given the 3 talents and they were supposed to go out and do something with it, grow it, lose it, whatever it was, the one who buried it was getting into a lot of trouble because there was no action to grow it or to do anything like that. But when you saw the sheer amounts of money, it was fear. And it wasn't fear that was going to grow this master's wealth and to help do this thing. It was something that prevented this person from growing what should naturally have grown. And so when you look at these stories, when you look at this, there's always aspects of good and evil, but there's always good in everything. So to pit the left or the right or somebody that doesn't agree with you as being evil, I have a problem with that. It causes division. It causes more separation. And I'm not going there, Neil. I'm not going left, right. I'm not talking Republican politics. I'm not talking Democratic politics. You can put it into whatever bucket you want to put it in. It doesn't matter where in the conversation this happens. It doesn't matter. We talk about politics because right now that's the hottest topic. Everybody's fuming about politics. Everybody. You either love Trump or you hate him. You either love Republicans or you hate them. So when you look at these elements, when you look at these items, you have to stop and reflect and go, what's happening? Yeah, Mike, for democracy, I can tell you the answer is no on that one. There's something that has to be done. And what is it that has to be done? We have to have these discussions. And at the end of this, we have to understand something. We have to understand that I may not agree with you, but I appreciate you being here having the conversation. We need to get back to this. We need to stop saying us versus them because it's we, the people. We need to stop saying it's your party or it's my party because it's we, the people. It's your idea of sexuality, my idea of sexuality. You know what it is? It's we, the people. It's about remembering what our nation was founded on, to get away from the tyranny and the oppression, to break free of those things that divided us and brought us together under a unified front. In this case, religion. Now, not one specific, the freedom of. Now, there was a targeted belief structure. We do know that. But again, the whole premise of this was that we were coming together under a yoke. Everybody was invited. Coming together under a yoke of the ability that we're not going to necessarily see eye to eye, but we're framed and founded on a very specific topic. We're framed and founded on integrity and trust and respect. We're founded on hard work and effort and growing our nation for the betterment of its population. But we're not about that anymore. We're divided. It's about us versus them. It's about you versus me. It's about my party versus your party. It's about sexuality. And what happens is, again, we lean so far one direction that the pendulum has to come back. And the pendulum is unrelenting. I don't know if you've ever seen a very large pendulum swing, but it isn't something you want to stand in front of. Because when it comes back, it's going to knock you on your butt. And right now, we're at a full swing coming back the other direction. People think we have leaned too far. I think it's going to continue to go. Because situations like this only make that bell ring true for more and more and more people that lean on the outskirts. And they feel more right. And I told Tiger this, and I hate to say this because it sounds ignorant, but it brings idiots together. It brings the zealots together. It brings the fools together. And people see those folks doing stuff, and then they form opinions, and then they form their own group. And then that group starts to have opinions about the groups that don't do it. And it's just further and further and further and further division. So how do we look at things from multiple lenses? Neil, your comment about Gold Maple making one-sided points, it's youth and inexperience. It has nothing to do with him being wrong. Life in general happens, and we don't have to necessarily understand all of it. So the question that I would have to Gold Maple is, who on your side, and let's leave social media out of it. No, I get it. I get it. I'm not saying he's wrong either. But the viewpoint is one of not necessarily of discussion. It's a matter of statements. You want to have a discussion, you say, my opinion or my belief, you get more opportunity to talk about things if you're not accusatory. If you haven't damned the devil before they've committed the act. If you haven't said that somebody's wrong without fully understanding why those things occur to begin with. Tiger, you and I have talked about tariffs, and I have showed you why certain tariffs for national security purposes, the sanctity of our money, the sanctity of labor, some of those items, why those things are put in there. Most of the time they're done in conflict. Now, they can be done because of financial growth and things of that nature, but if you look at the various tariffs that are there, and you look at what the U.S. has been tariffed against some of these other people, it's been unfair trade. Now, why have we done this? Well, we've offshored a lot of jobs. We've given stuff out to people. We have sent our money with them, and we have done stuff to build them up. And we're kind of like the hodgepodge, right? We want to help everybody, but we don't want everybody to get too big to where they take our stuff. And so when it's to the point to where we're starting to lose, we've got to balance that out. So I want to ask Gold Maple specifically a question, and I want to look at who's foot the bill. This is going to be interesting, and a lot of people, you guys can go search this up online. Who built Japan after we dropped the bomb? Who rebuilt Germany and France and England after World War II? How did we balance and offset that? A great example of this is the Pittman Act, 1917. Massive amounts of silver were sold to Great Britain to help stabilize their economy, to try to go through and to build and structure some of these things. Who went through and did some of the other, and again, there were nations out there, I will say there are other nations out there who got stuck holding certain aspects of the bill. I do understand that. But who was there for a majority of this? Who has built and constructed a lot of the elements that allow for some of these things to re-exist? And then we leave those tariffs in place so that they can build a stronger economy, so that they can grow as a nation. And when we're in financial straits, we come back and we say, I'm sorry, but you know what? We've done this for a long time. We're going to raise this up a little bit. And I'll tell you what it did is it brought people to the table that normally wouldn't have come to the table, because now there's financial constraints held against them and they have to. If you look at a lot of the taxes and a lot of the tariffs that were put out there, you look at, okay, well, we'll go there in just a minute, because you better know your history if you want to get into that one, because you're going to argue with somebody who knows the Revolutionary War very, very well.
Which one is that, Gold Maple?
If you want to go there, Gold Maple, we'll go there, but I need you to know more than Google, because a lot of the facts aren't in Google. Okay? So careful getting buffed up with a numismatic historian, and you're talking about Revolutionary War. Let's talk about how that came about and who bailed the French out, by the way. So let's talk about how those relationships were built and how it wasn't the Americas that did that. We also had to go through the French Canadians. Oh, by the way, it wasn't the French so much as it was the Huron and the native tribes. And what has Canada itself done to its own native tribes? So if you want to go there, dude, we can go there, but it won't end well for you. So let's keep that bucketed, because you got a lot of history to learn. But when we look at some of these items, when we look at some of these elements, you have to understand the other side, which means that you can't allow things to constantly ring you true like a tuning fork. It means you have to go back and you have to research those things that you say are bad. Why are they bad? Give me the information that says it's bad. Show me. Change my mind. Holy smokes, does that sound familiar to you? Change my mind. Well, but change my mind was also Charlie's thing.
I know I'm being smart alecky.
Okay. And so why did that matter? Why was that so important? Okay. So let me explain something to you, Gold Maple, really quickly. Okay. I enjoy having this conversation with you, and I'm not irritated at you because you love your country. And I can see that in your statements. But you don't understand history. You don't have a good, solid construct of the ins and outs, the doings forth, the backs and forths of all these things that have happened, and some of the things that have happened on both sides. When we're talking about stuff that America is doing, let's already talk about Canada's current monetary situation. Let's talk about some of the various years in which they had to increase tariffs on Americans. We allowed our prices to stay lower. Let's talk about how that's been done. We can do that. That's not a problem. But bring as much information as the positive aspect to the negative side, because you're going to have to know that, because as I start asking you questions, you're going to have to defend that. So make sure you understand both aspects of this. I'm glad that you're passionate about what you do. I really am. And I'm glad that at a young age, you're getting engaged in these conversations and you're stating your point. That's great. But remember, dude, you make another comment like that, we're going to have a problem. And I'm going to tell you why. I have bled for my nation. I have worked with Canadian troops, Russian troops. I have worked with Korean troops, Aussie troops, Australian troops. I have been a part of massive war operations and structures through RIMPAC while I was in the Navy. Son, you have no idea what I know. And the assessment that you just gave me will get you removed from my channel quicker than shit. I need you to be a little bit more respectful. And if you can't, get the fuck off my channel. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't come here to get into an argument. What I came to do is have a discussion. Don't you fucking tell me what I am, because you don't know me. You haven't talked with me. You haven't asked my opinion. You haven't given me an opportunity to say, well, further elaborate. So bring that shit to me one more time and you're going to be permanently removed from my channel. Grow the fuck up. Have a discussion. Quit telling people what they are. This is the problem with our society. You are a perpetrator of it. Stop it.
And
Let's go back to having discussion.
this is a point that I want to point out with the Charlie Kirk thing. People came at him with anger and disgust, and he treated them with kindness in return. You know, I've had many conversations with Frostbite, most of which we agree on, and some of which we don't. In fact, we've been discussing a totally different topic earlier today, where he and I kind of see each other's viewpoint and we kind of don't. And no matter how many times we will have a topic that we don't 100% agree on, I know that this is the same man that tracked me down when I was in a hospital, septic, and I was out of it to the point where I wasn't even awake. And when I did awake, I gave the right phone number. Uh, I gave the right phone number to the nurses to call my wife, but in the wrong order. This guy tracked me down. This guy's a very intelligent man. He's a very good man. And even when I can point out the fact that he has a concept close, but I see a different viewpoint, we still get along very well. I know that in the future, if SHTF comes to fruition and he calls me up and says, hey, I got blah, blah, blah going wrong, I'm going to run to his aid to the best of my ability. This is the type of friendship that you want, Gold Maple. I mean, you need to be able to look at both sides of the coin whenever you don't want to. So if you get knocked off, let me tell you, it is going to be your loss. Frostbite is very intelligent, but he will not tolerate disrespect, just like I won't tolerate disrespect on my channel. Um, yeah, this is why we lost Charlie Kirk, because someone took their anger to a new level instead of putting their anger in their back pocket and start to listen and take all that negative energy and put it to the side so that you can focus. When I take care of a patient and I'm going down the wrong avenue, as all doctors do from time to time, you have to be able to take your pride and throw it in the trash can, reevaluate to see if you are doing the best job for the patient. And
Yep.
the thing that you know, there are times when I've pointed things out to different people when they were wrong. My very first debate that I ever won was with a child, as a child, and my grandfather was telling me about bees and about the queen is the only female and the workers are males, and I had to teach him that the workers are female and there's only one type of male and it's a drone. We didn't have the internet back then. We had encyclopedias, and I brought out both the adult version and the child version that was in the house. And he looked at me and said, I want you to listen to me, boy, because you'll probably never hear this again. You're right and I'm wrong. I never forgot that. The thing is that we're not all going to agree. That there's no way in the world you're going to get two people agree about everything throughout the course of their lifetime. It don't happen. But on
Yeah.
the other side of the coin, you got to be willing to, for the sake of your own education, to understand another person's point of view, and for God's sakes, the betterment of our country, and even more importantly, the betterment of each other's soul. Put your temper in your back pocket and consider someone else's viewpoint.
Well, and so here's the thing. And again, I agree with Neil. We can move on from this discussion. And my temper got the better of me too. I am not one of those people to have. Um, I don't tolerate disrespect. I can tolerate differences of opinion, but when I'm being told how I am, now I don't mind. Hey, I feel like you're leaning towards this because of your stance here. Tell me what you feel. I don't have a problem with that, but don't you dare accuse me of being something. You have no idea who I am. And one thing that anybody in this community knows me, I am about this community. Well, folks, I have a bunch of stuff, and I've told Tiger this. I can do stacking videos, and I can break down some finance stuff, and I can get with people, and I can build networks, and I can do this, and I can grow my channel. I can do a stacking and a collecting channel. I can do my joke channel. I can do whatever I want to do, and I can do as many things as I can do that I'm connected to. I can sell coins if I want to. I can do auctions if I want to. I could run races if I want to. But in this particular venue, my purpose, my sole purpose of this channel is providing opportunity for people to learn, to stop the spread of disinformation and misinformation. Disinformation's purposeful, misinformation's because you think you know. And what Maple was doing was misinformation. He has an idea and a construct based off of a limited years of experience. How many of us weren't that way when we were kids? The problem is that he took it to the point of saying that's where your Americans are wrong. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's break that down. Which Americans? Which people? Who are we talking about? Right? And so it's one of those things where you look at how do you tolerate these things? How do you identify what's causing more dissension and work through those things? But the moment you start accusing somebody of being something, especially when you don't know them, then the conversation's over. It becomes an argument, and we need to stop doing so much arguments. Um, uh, okay. Um, I need to stop doing arguments and have more of those discussions. So this is why I was saddened to see what happened to Kirk. Okay, and but I also understand that that's not my life. That isn't what my life revolves around. You know what's more important to me? You see the picture that's on my thumbnail? That woman's way more important to me. I need to be focused on them. My kids that are sitting here. One's in the room playing video games, and the other one, I think he should be cleaning the garage, but I bet he's in bed. Um, those things are more important to me. I've got a college kid who's working through things and dealing with things and learning about things. I've got lessons to teach her. That's more important to me. So the question is, why did this Charlie thing hit so many people so hard? It's because they're losing focus on what really matters. What matters? And this is the Tiger and I had this conversation. What really matters to you, Tiger? What really drives you? And he was like, when my wife nibbles my ear, or being able to put out a good video and good content and help somebody through something, being able to save a child's life or a person's life who's come into the ER and needs life-saving intervention, and I'm able to help them to grow people, to talk with you and to talk with my friends and to let people know how much I appreciate them, to get back into my faith, to do stuff. We've talked about health. When I get frustrated or I can't get in focus, I go swim. Swimming is the way, this is my escape. This is how I kind of re-energize myself with this. And I tried to ask her to come up and she said no. Not lightly, but I was going to try and do that. I was trying to draw people to the discussion.
I could always get her a sedation, and we can give her some truth serum and get her opinion on everything.
Oh, you guys don't want to hear that. So, no, but we need to have discussions, and we need to remember, this is why Tiger and I talked about what we did yesterday in Stack Collector. What's important is remembering what's important. Okay, remember, and Michael, I apologize for the swearing, and I know that you probably hit that off, and I do apologize. But here's my stance. This is it's disconcerting to me. We get so quick to tell somebody they're wrong without even knowing what the hell they're saying. We are so quick to a little bit, yes, Neil. It was clickbait a little bit, yes. But look at my wife. Isn't she hot? I mean, come on. I figured some people would click on it.
He's the second hottest.
Well, hey, I know I'm good looking, but you know.
No, I'm talking about mine. You know, both. Well, you know my wife. We both married up, dude.
Oh, that's facts. That's facts. I don't know about them. I don't know if they married up, but you know, anyway. But my point again, we need to stop having to be right, and we just need to be at the point where we're having the discussion, doing something that is. Oh, Chris Richard, I miss your subscribing. Thank you so much. I did not see that until just now. And Amy, member for 8 months. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate you. Tiger, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but what are those? Let's just do two. Let's not go crazy. Let's just do two. But what are those things that mean the most to you? And I mean, bottom line, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's all you had. You could only choose two things in the world. What would they be?
It's so hard because there's so many. Well, I'm just going to put it as simple as I can. My relationship with God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, and very shortly after that, my wife.
And see, this is what matters. When you guys hit a place, and this is why it's so important to have peace in a home.
And that's one of the points I want to make mention about learning about Charlie Kirk. He doesn't know me. I don't know him, but he gave me a gift. He gave me that last piece that made me pick up the phone and call a priest so that I can get myself back in harmony. And I'm very grateful to that man who I don't know, and he and his family don't know me, but he gave me that gift. I needed it.
So, Neil, God, family, country, that is a staple, die hard, and true. You'll hear that in the military, God, family, country core. That's one of those things, or God, core, family, country, whichever way I think is. I think it's God, family, country, core. Um, and it is a truth. But mine is number one is relationship. Um, and I know that is broad, but the term relationship is broad. My relationship with my maker, my relationship with my wife, my daughter, my sons, the people here in this community. My goal is to protect and serve. Now, I'm not a police officer, but I was in the military and I served in the Navy. And I took an oath. And when I got out of the military, I didn't stop that oath to protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to stand in the gap for people who can't. What is integrity? Doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Do I screw that up from time to time? Hell yes. But you know what? I do everything I can to try and maintain those types of things. And I surround myself with people like Tiger, who just like myself will tell me the hard things that I don't necessarily want to hear. I've got a couple people in this community, Mad Stacker's one of them, who will hear me say something and he'll call me and he'll say, hey, dude, we need to chat about this. What's going on? What are your thoughts on this? How are you doing with this? Let's pray about it. Let's go through these things. And obviously, you guys know the friendship that Tiger and I have, right? I got 75 cents an hour in 1991 war. Yeah, well, yeah, and exactly. But it's one of those things that what drives you? So the first one for me was relationship. And the other one is something that my grandfather taught me. And that's that you only have one thing in this life. There's only one thing you own, nothing else. And he would have me go through this, and it was a number of years where he would ask me this question, and I would sit there. And for a long time, I thought it was a joke. And I'm like, well, you got to tell me the punchline. And he's like, it's not a punchline. Tiger, do you know the answer to that? What is the only thing you own?
Your integrity?
Nope. Your integrity can be bought. Somebody can buy your integrity. What's the only thing that you own?
You don't really own your soul. That belongs to God. The ability to choose to tell the truth or not. I'm probably missing the point.
So UNOC right there, your word, that's a good one. Morals is a good one. Personally, very close, Flag City. Very close. Let's be a little bit more specific. It's 2 words. Your name. The only thing you own in this world is your name. That is the only thing that's yours. Everything else can be taken from you, but nobody can take your name. And so when you look at your words, people can speak with you and for you through you. We see this. Tiger and I talked about this. I'm definitely not going to elaborate on that, but people not being able to genuinely say what they want to because they're under the constraints of somebody else. So depending upon where you're at, you may not be able to speak your word. So in that particular case, your word is not necessarily your own. And if you're talking about something that you firmly believe but you don't understand, are those your words or are they somebody else's? So when we actually look at this, the only thing you own is your name. And what does frostbite mean to you? That matters to me. So what do I want my channel to be? What do I want my friendships to be? What do I want my child to understand? What do I want my sons, I say my child, I meant to say daughter, my sons to understand? What do I want my wife to understand? What do I want my friends to understand? And that is that they're going to get who I am, the way I am, whenever I am, wholly and truly. I get passionate about things. Sometimes it comes across as being mean and arrogant. When sometimes I just don't understand. I was actually chastised by this from a boss the other day. It was like, please don't ever talk to me that way again. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you misunderstood. That did not go over well. But when it was all said and done, they had to come back to the table and ultimately say they were right, they misunderstood. I just simply stated what the facts were. Try and give you the best information I can. I make mistakes. I'm human. I'm fallible. But the only thing I have is my name. Not only my name, Frostbyte Coins, but my genuine name. It's the only thing that's truly mine. My kids will grow up and be their own. My wife, she can do whatever the hell she wants to do. She's my wife. And I ain't going to try and stop her. I've done that a couple of times. It doesn't bode well for me.
Me too.
Right? And so it's one of those things where don't tell me about what I believe. Don't tell me about what I am. You know what? I want you to say, hey, Frosty, you know what I see in you? I see somebody that doesn't quite understand something. Can we talk about this? Paul is really good about doing this. I think you got that wrong, bud. It was this. Hey, that was a great video. It's wrong. You may want to take it down and fix it. Call me and we'll talk about why it's wrong. And I call her. There's an unknown thing about this, and it's people know it, but this thing, and I just released a short earlier, and she told me to take it down. Well, did not so much told me to take it down, but it was by all accounts 100% a true and accurate statement, except I found out that this is one of the situations in which the person that did it knows it's wrong, but it's wrong in the system, and yet they have yet to correct it. It's a known issue by those that are genuinely in the know. But for everybody else, it looks like it would be something else. So I had to eat a little bit of crow and take that down and go, I can redo this video, and I will redo this video with the right information. And why is that? Because I want people to get as much and the most of truth that I can do that, which means that I have to admit I'm wrong. I want to go back to something that Gold Maple said. This is in boost and benefit of him, in that you have to understand how they played a role. When you look at my commemorative coin series and you look at the Oregon Trail, when you look at the discussions regarding Vermont, the one where I called Yankee, when I talk about the expansion and the Louisiana Purchase, I'm always mentioning the indigenous. I'm always mentioning the Native American tribes who are downtrodden. I don't always talk about the pretty side of American history. I talk about sometimes the tough thing. So for him to say that all Americans, or you stand in this gap, you don't understand. You believe a certain thing. That's not what I am. That's not what I'm about. I do research. I work hard to bring you solid, good information. So I want people to take a moment and quit feeling like they are right. And you have the right to say whatever you want to. That's fine. But you do not have the ability to tell me what I have to believe. You do not have the authority to tell me where I have to stand. Check! What's up? You know
Hey,
what?
Decker.
Here's a really cool tidbit. Chuck, I need you to put a little bit of information in chat. I'm going to be seeing chat tomorrow afternoon, or check tomorrow afternoon around 3:30ish, because I'm going to be going to Wurzfest of all place in San Antonio, and I'm going to go check him out. He's going to be talking about some coins and some minting stuff, giving a little talk. I'm going to go up and meet Check and sit with him and his wife and do a little powwow for a little while. So I am really looking forward to this, Check Stacker. I am got everything set up and ready to go, and Drachamythalaphala, whatever the heck that is, sounds like Jägermeister, but I know that's spelled differently. Yoke Mythaler. Yaki Mythaler. Anyway, he's probably laughing his butt off saying that is not how you say that. But anyway, so Chuck, it's good to see you. Please, I sent you an email. Send me a little bit more information. I need to know exactly where you're going to be sitting so I can make sure I find you. I'll probably have my son with me because he said he's wanting to go.
Just look for his signature hat. He has a nice hat. The only head I've ever seen that hat looks good on.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, bud. And I appreciate you. Every time he's fairly close to the area that I live in, he sends me stuff. Unfortunately, we had some situation. I wasn't able to get up to New Braunfels last time. So I was really excited to see this and go, I've got time. I can go hang out and say hi and see what's going on. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you, Chuck.
I'm a little jelly on that one.
Yeah, Chuck's good people. And if you guys haven't seen or checked out his channel, please go check out Check Stacker. If you'll do me a favor and throw that link in there, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, check out Check.
You know what though? I want to say a joke. He's gonna have to tell me if it's okay. I mean, I'm going to tell you the joke anyway. But I used to wonder why restaurants were racist and why they were against other countries. And my grandfather, and this is a true story. My grandfather asked me why, and I was like, well, I don't understand what people from Czechoslovakia have done to not be allowed to come into restaurants. And he was like, what in the hell are you talking about? And I walked up and I said, look, it says no checks, please. He was like, that's not what that means. I was probably like 8 years old. And he was like, oh, good Lord. Hey, 9 for 9 with a $10 super chat. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. But yeah, so anyway, I was like, so that's always been the joke, the checks in the mail or sorry, no checks, please. But yeah, I never understood that Czechoslovakia and the word Czech weren't actually the same. And so that was the first time that I actually learned how Czechoslovakia was spelled. But anyway, it's because I've always loved European history. Tiger, we talked about that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Czech doing his Bohemian Silver discussion. That should be a lot of fun. Czech, do you want me to, I don't know if you're going to be streaming it. Are you going to be streaming it, or do you want me to stream it from the event? He may be streaming it himself. Okay, let me bring my tripod. I'll bring my tripod and my cell phone clip, and I've got a little mic thing. I'll get it all connected, and we'll stream it for you. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'll get there a little bit early. I'm going to send you an email with my telephone number so that you have my telephone number, and we can connect and make sure that we get that taken care of. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. So I should be there. I'll try to be there probably around 2:30, 2:45. Get plenty of time. We can make sure we find a place and get that taken care of. And then I'll stream Check Stacker live on my stream and hear him talk about Bohemian Silver. Looking forward to that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Make sure your batteries are charged. Yes. So I have batteries, and actually, my DJI, I'm looking at it right now, which is a very nice gift from Mr. Tiger Stacker, um, is fully charged and raring to go. So I am all set.
And that case will recharge the devices in it until the case runs out.
Well, the case is fully charged too. So, um, but that's a really neat piece. That's I love that microphone. What Gouda say to Cheddar? Ah, you look sharp. I told that joke, Neil, to my wife one time, and I was like, "You look tasty," and she's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, you look sharp." She was like, "That doesn't work for a woman." It was still funny. It made me laugh. Why was the cucumber mad? Because it was in a pickle. I love it when he pulls these dad jokes. I don't know what sites you use, but they're awesome. Oh, what else is on your plate, Tiger? What else do you want to chat about?
Oh, well, I think we covered a lot with Charlie and why I and other people have gotten involved in it. And the harmony resonance, not only harmony, but frequency resonance does seem to fit a good bit. Um, uh, you want to just briefly introduce, without going into too much depth, that you and I have been talking about some additional topics to go into explaining the science of osmium, so that people who might wonder what this is about, because I had a really great video taken from the live stream of Space Miner. Um, and Frostbyte was saying it's a good video, but maybe I've gone over some people's heads. So we're going to try to be a little bit more Bill and I the Science Guy than what I thought I was. Now, I don't want to give all the details, but that's going to be coming up. So that's one. Another thing is that I think I'm going to this weekend, depending on how good I feel with all the travel I did. I'm going to do my membership party, my every 3-month membership party for those of you who are members at my channel. So make sure that you're there. I'd like to have you there. And Frosty, you're welcome to come up on panel. I put out a feeler for aspiring alchemists because I think she did a bang up job helping me on the giveaway party for 200 two years of content creation. So for those of you who want to come on, I'm trying to figure out what time and day is going to be best. Better Saturday, better Friday, but I'll put it on there here in a little while. Uh, uh, okay, so those are some things that we're talking about, and for those of you who haven't gone to see Stack Collector, we work really hard at trying to give you good content and as much, not only evergreen content, but material that may not have been covered by other channels, which is not always easy because you know you have to look for ways to present information that maybe no one's ever seen it from that point of view before. So, which is one of the reasons I'm so tickled to, to do my presentations on osmium, so that people can decide, for themselves. I'm not going to tell you all that it's real or that it's a scam. I'm going to leave that all for you. What I'm going to do is enjoy the science, enjoy presenting it, enjoy the journalism that I can do with it, and that whole thing. So those are a lot of things that is in the process, in addition to the normal stacking videos uh, and that whole thing. I'm planning on doing a little bit more boring videos and I got some techniques I want to try. So those are the topics I have on my plate. How about yourself?
Well, we talked about the thing that we're doing for kind of explaining some of the basic principles. We are creating a series of 101s. They are the very basics to understand some of the details that Space Miner and Tiger did in that video regarding osmium. I talked to a couple people about the idea of really trying to take things to the smallest common denominator and put them in languages that everybody understands. And so I'm looking forward to that. We've talked potentially about 3 additional kind of prelude videos to kind of get you set up so you understand some basic concepts about things that are said in the other video that will help give you a little bit better basis and kind of help you understand some of the various levels of science and why it's so complex. And so I'm looking forward to that. We've got 2 weeks before we drop another one. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be at Michael's Stacking doing one of Frosty's stories. And we're going to be looking at the various stories like we did with the Newton boys a couple weeks ago, where we talk about the train heist and the 1924 peace dollar and how looking at the 1924 peace dollar can now have a sense of history to it, so you can remember a story that happened from that. I've got another one that's coming out very shortly about a ship. The ship is the one that went down. I got a ship coin. It's really cool. Got it just about finished. I've got to start finalizing the final edits, but that one's going to come out. And then again, in 2 weeks, I'll be over at Michael Stacking and we'll do another one on his channel. I go over and tell stories and stuff about it. It's a lot of fun. I'm also going to be redropping Jack Young's ICG submission. That was a live stream, but a lot of people don't like to go back and look at the live streams, so I'm going to put that one back as a video. Hopefully we can get some more people to see that one. And then I had a really cool interview today with a lady from the Anti-Counterfeiting Educational Foundation. Talked for about an hour, interviewed, had a really great discussion. I'm really working on establishing more relationships and building that network so that we can continue to grow that and help protect you. Steve, looking for silver raids coming in. Thank you guys so much for popping in. Appreciate you. I just got notification that the viewers are coming on over. But there's some really cool things coming down the pike. I got a couple interviews that I've confirmed they're interested in, and I'm waiting to get information on those. So there's some really cool stories coming out. The big one, Tiger, you're aware of what's going on. That story is probably 5 or 6 months from being finished. And so, say again?
I said, okay.
But that's going to be a pretty significant one. I'm trying to do things to help enlighten the community of a major situation that's going on, working with some people to resolve some solutions. We've talked to a couple of different people, not only within my channel, but at the ACEF, as well as people who work in law enforcement to strategize some stuff. So I'm going to be bringing you some pretty decisive information on ways that you can protect yourself, especially if you buy, sell, or trade coins. So staying aware of that. If you're not subscribed, please do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make sure that you're documenting or you're paying attention to what is being laid out, because there have been some instances where I think I've been able, along with some other people, to help find a solution. I'm trying to be cryptic without giving it away. To help people find a solution to resolve basically lost and missing packages. There's a whole lot you have to understand about that. It sounds like I'm taking on USPS, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to fix FedEx. But just stay tuned to that. Again, if you're not subscribed and you really want to be aware of how to protect yourself and your stack, make sure you're subscribed not only to myself and Tiger. Otis, what's going on? Mike Pepsi, good day. How are you, good sir? Make sure you guys are tracking that and making sure you, and yeah, Stacking Surfer, that's a great thing. Don't mark your packages at Hazmat or it takes almost a year to get to you. Yeah.
That's a great story.
That is a fun story. I sent him a text message and said, I got my package, thank you for the gift. And he was like, what in the hell are you talking about? He was like, oh my God, I sent that like 9-10 months ago. And yeah, come to find out he had marked it as hazmat. And so I didn't get it. It's stuck in some California warehouse for 7 months. No, this is a little bit more something that we need to pay attention to. And so as soon as I get more information from the people that I'm working with, and I can start relaying information without it blowing up in our face, then I'll be sharing stuff with you. So there's a lot of cool things coming your way here in the next few months. I am just about to hit 1 million views. Yeah, 9 months is no joke. I'm absolutely amazed, Stacking Surfer, that it actually arrived. That's the one that amazed me, and to see it sat in that warehouse for so long. That was a crazy story. Hey, Stackan, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you.
Hey, Stackan, how you doing, hon?
But Tiger and I have a lot of good information coming out. I have talked to him about some of the things that I'm doing with other channels. Again, my engagement, I really enjoy having people like CoinShow Podcast and Litecoin Q&A, Copper Coins, Jack Young, Jack Riley, the folks at Harlan J. Burke who have come to support the channel. There's so many cool people that have been on the channel recently that really, you guys need to come over and check the stuff out and listen to what they have to say. Some amazing stories. And so again, if you're new, you're hearing this, you're not subscribed, consider doing so, because there's a lot of cool things coming down the pike. And I promise you one thing, I will always try to provide you the best information to help you. And if I find things that are out there that potentially could harm you, I'll make sure to show you about those and give you guys some heads up. A lot of the stuff is old and just needs to be revisited from time to time. Some of the stuff is new. And so, again, stay tuned, stay informed. And I just appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out with us, talking with us tonight, allowing me to express my opinion about where we're at and why we're there, for listening and having good conversation. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't want to have the conversation and they want to accuse. Let's not be accusatory. Let's have the discussion and just talk. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. So, hey, El, you know what? I didn't want to do it because I was so afraid of everybody looking at this and going, oh my God, here's another Charlie Kirk video. I wanted to let everybody get that out of their system. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to see what people were saying. And I wanted to make up my own assessment. I wanted to find out where people were leaning and what their viewpoints were. And see if they mirrored or matched my own, or if they were different. And if they were different, why? And I learned a lot of things, not only about other people, but about me. A lot of introspection, a lot of taking time to look back, so much so that I had somebody in chat the other day asked me if weed is legal in my state, and I was like, I don't partake. That's not why I'm having this conversation. Um, because it's not normally like me to have this specific conversation. But what is important to me is the status of our nation, and that we need to come together and have discussions, that we need to agree to disagree, and that every discussion is an opportunity to learn more about the other person, to learn more about the gaps within your own knowledge, and to grow as a people. And that's what's important, and that's what matters to me. So I wanted to take some time and share that with you guys and gals. To got it, Chad. Thank you so much. I'm actually just came across my phone. Perfect. Um, but I can't tell you guys and gals, the people in this chat, the people that watch this, how much I appreciate your support of Tiger and I. The jokes, the words of affirmation, the words of encouragement, the correction. You guys have been both um, a serious level of comfort for us. I know that when Tiger was going through his sepsis thing, he was quite emotional when I was telling him that I was reaching out to people, letting them know what was going on, and that people that he didn't even think knew who he was were reaching out to him and saying, "Hey, we're praying for you. We think you're good. Um,
Yeah,
we got you."
that was shocking.
So you guys have more of an impact than you think. And when you know you have an impact, we have a responsibility to understand how to best use that. And so I'm trying to be a good steward of that. And I'm not going to have these conversations very often. I don't
Go ahead.
I don't want to make this channel about politics and my viewpoints over everybody else's. I want to have them from time to time because it's good for people to have these discussions. So I won't do this a lot, but it is something that from time to time we'll have these discussions. And if somebody in chat says, "Hey, there's a lot of discourse or there's something going on, and we need to do that," I'll take time and do some introspection and introspective views. Look inside myself, and we'll see what we can do. What's up, Silver Scientist? Good to see you.
I can tell you that both times I had sepsis, the first one was the worst one. It was about a year ago, and the last one was, I don't know, about maybe 5 months ago. Both times when I was in the hospital and I couldn't work, um, I asked someone to go to my hotel room and bring me my laptop because not being part of the community was pretty lonely. Uh, I um, I I like working on my videos, and I like hanging out with a lot of people in the community, including Stackhand, who won't give me that darn wooden owl. But all joking aside, um, you know, I have better friends in the YouTube community than I have in the real world, and more of them. I think that our society is so me centered that very few neighbors even know who the heck they are. Unlike when I was a kid. When I was a kid, everybody was friendly to everybody. If something bad happened, everybody in the little coal mining patch that we lived in came over, uh, brought food, brought comfort, brought support. You know, I don't see that anymore. I see it here. I don't see it in the real world. So I wanted my computer because I wanted to be back in with the second most important people in my life, first being the wife. And you all allow me to enjoy being part of a bigger picture. And that's why I do the videos I do. It's the third biggest reason I do it is to teach all of you. the one just before that is to leave messages for my grandsons that I love them, plus give them evergreen content so that when they are our age and they have a family to support, families to support, that maybe they'll watch the videos and learn how to protect them and their future families. So thank you for giving me something to really look forward to.
I want everybody to look at the screen. And if you're on your phone, it's going to be hard for you to see. What do you see about this coin?
It's very weird to have liberty on the headdress of an Indian, but it doesn't look exactly like an Indian. It looks a little bit more, well, to my view, it looks more like a blonde with an Indian headdress and the word liberty.
So remember that liberty was personified as a woman, right?
Granted,
So
I've never seen a potential Native American as liberty before.
anybody else know anything about this coin? Can you guys look at it? It is 1861. That's good. You got the date.
She's got a pearl necklace. I am not a numismatist. I'd probably say things that are not numismatically correct.
Perfect and awesome. Hopefully that's a little bit bigger for you. Let me know if that works. I know it cuts down into the chat, but that should be bigger for you on that. AUBU, is that penny or is that gold? That is a penny. It's supposed to be. Let's go ahead and flip this over really quickly. And let's look at this. And you guys see anything with this? She got pearls on. Yep, she's dressed to impress. And we look at that 1 cent there. Right, you can see that Union shield up at the top, the laurel wreath, the arrows. What's wrong with the arrows?
There's no feathers on the other end? You're probably giggling at my lack of knowledge in numismatism.
No. Well, this penny is a counterfeit. It's not real. And if you look at the 8, the 8 is definitely one of those things that gives it away. And if you look at the 2 ones, the ones are different fonts on the same coin. The bottom one is thicker than the other. And then if you look at the 8, and we'll zoom in on the 8 a little bit, you have to bear with me because I wasn't set up for this. But if you look at that 8, you can see that 8 just, it's not right. It's been cut. It's been placed together. The fonts between the 2 ones are different. This is definitely a fake coin. And if we want to zoom in to that Liberty, and we look at that Liberty, we see something there. There's something about that Liberty that just doesn't look right. And so one thing that I'm going to be doing is, and I've got permission. Yeah, exactly, Silver Scientist. It kind of looks like a chain link on an 8. One thing I'm going to be doing is after my interview with the AECF, I'm going to be putting out some more content. I'm actually going to be releasing a video on counterfeits that actually came from them. It was actually commissioned and put together, but they've told me that they like my mission and they have given me permission to drop that video on my stream. So that next video that comes out, it's not me doing AI, it's actually somebody else's video, but they want me to share it on my channel. And so, yeah, it's definitely been tooled. There's definitely serious issues with that. The the thickness of states, and you'll see some stuff within the, oops, I froze up a little bit, within the lettering. So there's some, when you understand this, there's definitely some things that you'll see within the headdress, and then it's missing all of the detail there at the bottom of the headdress. It's very blurry, very blotchy. The headdress doesn't attach. You'll see some different things. But we're going to talk about some of these things, but this one is about a gold coin and why this particular coin was so specific. So you guys will be seeing some stuff that is not necessarily my content, but I will be making the videos not only to help support anti-counterfeiting in the hobby, but to make sure that we utilize those sources and share out information. So if there's ever a question about a video, is it mine? Or if you hear some weird person talking on it, no, I'm not utilizing AI to do this. These are videos that are being asked by these other agencies that are in this job of actually trying to identify and stop counterfeiting from coming into the US. So again, a lot of really cool things happening to the channel. So we'll see. And I think I said this a little while ago, I'm just about to turn 1 million views. So when I hit my million views, which should be probably next weekend, if the trend stays the way it's supposed to, I'll do a little bit of a giveaway and something celebrating the million views. Next big milestone is obviously when I get to 7,500 subscribers. So if we can get to 7,500, but make sure you're over and subscribing to Tiger Stacker, because you're only a few away from.
I'll tell you here in a sec. Let me go over there. I'll tell you just a moment. Only a couple clicks away. I have 1,968 subscribers, which means I need 32 subscribers or more to break 2,000, which I would be really super grateful for. And at that time, when I break it, I'll wait a little bit, because you know how YouTube is. They let you have some subscribers and they take some away. So I want to make sure I stay above 2,000. It's kind of silly to have a 2,000 subscriber giveaway party and you drop back down to 1,900. It's a little embarrassing. But once it's sustained, well, I'll be doing another giveaway party as a thank you to the subscribers, members, mods, and everyone, similar to how I did with the 2 years of content creating. We'll bring out the checkerboard, and have people get a chance to get some free silver to show you all I appreciate you so much. So just going ahead and let you all know that. But make sure Frosty gets the support he needs. I eventually want to catch up to Frosty, but that's going to take a little time. He is able to put out more lives and videos than what I can. I'm working on that, but I do want to get to a point where I'm able to provide a lot of information to all of you and my grandsons. Plus, I have to admit, I really enjoy the work I've put into the videos and the research and the education I've gotten. So I want to thank you for giving me something to have motivation about and to get my brain off of medicine, because I've done it for so many years, and this is a better community than working in a hospital with hospital politics. So I want to thank you all for that too. Thank you,
So
Elton.
I haven't done this, and I just realized Freaking Awesome gifted 5 memberships, and I told him thank you, but I didn't announce it. You got one by Everyday Copportunity, Silver Scientist, Nash Landings, Chad Wolfenhabus Lavendorf, and then Herman Ortiz. And I know many of you guys said thank you already, but thank you, Freaking Awesome, for your support. He's always in sharing it out, commenting down below. Tiger, just gifted 5 more. Richard Sappington, that's a guy over from Copper Coins. I see him over there all the time. Bill Arrington, Daryl USA, what's up, Daryl? And Shorty Mama. Interesting. Rich or Ridiculous, I like that name. That's cool. Please tell Tiger Stacker, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate your guys' support. I don't ask you guys to drop chats, super chats, or stickers or things like that. If you guys want to do it, I always tell you that I enjoy the gifted memberships for 2 reasons. Number 1, it helps people feel connected to something. And number 2, it's nice to get that notification that you were gifted a membership, and you can go over and check everything out and say hi and see what's going on. So SkyQuest just subbed to you, Tiger Stacker.
I was waiting for a chance to tell him thank you. Thank you, SkyQuest. And for those of you who sub to any channel, mine, Frosty's, someone else's, make sure you do more than just hit the subscribe, because YouTube might take it away later thinking you're a bot. Go see a video, leave a comment, hit the bell notification, hit the like button. And especially all of them, it will keep you in there.
Yep, that is fact.
And also, not just subscribe. See if both of us, whoever you subscribe to, is giving you some good information, some good education, things that you can take away. And I'm like, wow, that really is helping me attain my goals in my life.
Well, I appreciate all the support of you guys. And again, thank you so much for allowing us to come and just chit chat with you guys, talk about some of the situations. One thing I would like to do is Tiger and I talked about this. Freaking Awesome's been doing this since 2016. He's like, and you're passing me up, dude. Slow down. Tiger and I talked about this. I have an opportunity to bring you guys stories about counterfeits. Now, when I talk about the stories about counterfeits, these are things that law enforcement and the ACEF, those people have been able to do to help stop counterfeiting coming into the U.S. Is that something you guys want to hear? Because if so, I was given permission today to pull that into some of our Stack Collector episodes, where we talk about some of the things that they've done and talk about some of the resources that are available to help not only within numismatics, proper coin collecting, but silver and gold as well. Talk about the various bullion, talking about various testing, what you can be done, or what you can do, what can be done, what can't be done, what you should be looking for, how to test, what's realistic for the person who collects and stacks at home versus what is unique or different to those that do coin shops or shows. And so we'll be talking about some of that stuff. If that's something that you guys want to see more of, then let us know. You guys are going to have to say that. I know Michael Stacking and Silver Scientist are both saying that's something that's good with them. But I want to make sure that before Tiger and I have already talked about it. He said he's good with it, but I want to get that from the audience. So be thinking about that. We'll do a trial run on my channel next week or the week after next, and we'll see how it goes. But if that's something that you guys want to see, then let us know, and we'll make sure that we do that. What about coin searches? You guys want to see more coin searches on the channel? Or do you guys got enough channels out there that does coin searches that you don't need to worry about it?
I'll just come out there and watch you go through it. Sometimes I actually learn something, but I just enjoy watching people, go on the hunt.
Neil, older coins as in ancients, or older coins? You want me to show a coin and not my thing? I don't have the patience. A lot of people are that way. They don't like looking through a ton of coins. Otis searching. So we can look through a couple different things, and what I'll try to do, and this is something one of the videos, uh, one of the multiple video ideas that I have is talking with various people about, and this, hey Mike, what's going on, bud? Talking with various people about stories that they've been involved in, and this is something that Mike Nodelman and I have talked about, and trying to bring more people in, not necessarily in an interview state, but to say, hey, what were you doing during this time frame? Or I used to work at the Mint. What did you do? How was it? What was the security like? You know, kind of get just inside connection to some of the stories that are out there. I've got a gentleman that's going to be talking about some of the law enforcement things, law enforcement side of counterfeiting. So again, a lot of cool things. I actually reached out to Mike about an idea. I need to message you tomorrow, Mike, and explain to you what I want to do and find out what's going on. SkyQuest and I and my daughter had an amazing time when he came to Kerrville to see the eclipse. Unfortunately, the eclipse got clouded out. You were only able to see a little bit of it. But we got to meet SkyQuest and go hang out with him and pick him up from freaking awesome and at the airport and take him all the way down. We came back, had dinner, met with freaking awesome and teacher. Was there somebody else? I think it was just the four of us, and just good times. So if you guys are ever in the area, again, I'm really looking forward to meeting Czech tomorrow. But if you guys are ever in the area, in or around
Charlie.
that San Antonio area, please let me know, and we'll make sure that we to do that. Yeah, Neil, I got fired from a calendar factory for taking off too many days.
That was bad.
So, yeah, lots of fun. All right, folks. Well, hey, it is 1 o'clock my time, and I've got to go live in about 7 hours, which means that I need to get some rest and get my stuff together for tomorrow. I've got to get the live stream set up and everything. So I'm going to bail. Thanks again for you guys coming in, for hanging out with us, for general conversation and chit chat, and I appreciate you joining us. Anything you want? All right. Well, as Neil says, if April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims. All right, folks. Take care of yourselves. Be well, be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow. See you then.